everyone, today I am going to be doing one of my top requested videos, and it's a lot of you guys asking me what can I do to prevent my curls from falling? Why do my curls always fall? And to be honest, it's very difficult for me to answer this question individually because I would need to know how your haircut is, what are you doing to prep, the way you're holding the curling iron, or what curling iron you are using. There's so many different things that could come into play when it comes to making sure that your curls stay. So that is why I decided to create this video, so I can explain in general some tips and tricks that can help you guys when it comes to preventing your curls from falling. Number one, let's start off with your haircut. A haircut makes a huge difference when it comes to curls. If you do have a one length haircut or very long layers, which is pretty much like a one length, then your hair is going to be very heavy and it is going to be a lot harder for your hair to hold that curl. So I would definitely suggest to add some layers. Some people are scared of layers because they might think, oh, it's so choppy and I don't like shorter pieces. But as you guys can see, you can't really tell that I have layers until you start taking it apart. Then you see the shorter pieces. But my hair still looks full at the bottom. What I get as a haircut, I just get it one length at the bottom, but I just tell a very soft, subtle layers throughout my hair. So then I have these layers that aren't that noticeable, but they're there adding movement and texture to my hair, which makes the biggest of difference. Next tip is products. So a lot of people are scared of products, or you might not be using the right products. Products can be your best friend. I always recommend products because they do make a big difference when it comes to whatever look that you want to achieve. So I always use products. Let's start off with your shower routine. Are you drenching your hair in conditioner? Because a conditioner is a softener. It makes your hair super soft and slippery. If you want your curls to stay, you don't want your hair to be very silky and slippery. You kind of want texture in your hair. That is why a lot of people's hair holds a lot better when it comes to second day hair, because it's a little more messed up and not so clean and slippery. So going light on the conditioner, I would recommend that. And then when you prep your hair, the goal is to add some type of grit to your hair, because if it's very silky, the curls are going to slip out. So mousse, I know people are scared of mousse, but mousse is very helpful. You can add it from the mid shaft to your ends, and it's gonna give it a little bit of a tackiness. If you need to brush it through, you guys can brush your hair so it's not sticky, but just to have that little bit of a grit and be able to hold that curl a little bit better. If you don't like mousse, you can use a texture mist, maybe like a sea salt spray or some type of spray to add throughout your hair, and you guys can brush it out too if you don't want it to be sticky, or you guys can blow dry it because the heat from the blow dry will activate a lot of the products. You want to make sure that you're always prepping your hair correctly, and that is what's going to help you maintain a curl. So here are some products that are great. This isn't necessarily a mousse. Color Wow came out with a foam. It has that little bit of a grit, which is great. This actually is a color control foam. So you're kind of getting two in one. You're getting hold on your hair. It also neutralizes any brassy tones. They have one for orange brassy tones, and then they have a different one for yellow brassy tones. This I love because you're able to eliminate brass as well as add it throughout your hair so you can have some grit. Your Nature Lab Volume Texture Mist. So this one, you spray on your wet hair, and then I would just rough dry it with a blow dryer and then brush it through if you need to. This just adds a little bit of texture to your hair to give it that feel before you actually go and curl it. Okay, next is if you are blow drying your hair before you are curling, make sure not to do a super smooth blow dry. So I know for you guys who are just like, well, my hair's frizzy, I have to blow out my hair before I curl. What I recommend is just blowing out the roots and then leaving the bottom. Even though, let's say it's frizzy or whatnot, when you put the heat from the curling iron, it's going to smooth out. So it's better to not smooth everything out and then go in with the curling iron. It's actually better to just smooth out the top, leave the rest, and then use the curling iron, and that will hold it a lot longer than if you were to smooth everything out. And if you were to do a blow dry, I would suggest either a rough dry, or you can even use a brush if you need to, but use a flexible one so you're not getting that super sleek blowout. If you use like a smoothing brush or a round brush, you're gonna get a sleek blowout. So try to stay away from that when you want to do curls. So the next tip is, if you have super straight hair, the day before you want to curl your hair, maybe sleep with a loose braid. That's going to add some light texture to your hair, so when you curl it, it's going to hold longer. So let me show you what I mean.
So one side of the extension I braided so it could have some texture, and then the other side I just left it straight. I am taking off the braid, and as you can see, it has a little bit of texture now. Now I am going to curl the side that is on the straighter side. And as you can see right now, it just falls off the curling iron. So it kind of just slipped off the curling iron. It's super slippery. So I'm going to try it again just to make sure I get a curl so I can compare the two. And then I am going to go ahead and let it go and do the same thing on the other side with a little bit of texture. And this side held on very well to the curling iron. It didn't slip off. It had that grit already because of the braid. And then I am going to go ahead and let it go as well. And then as you can see, it's a little bit tighter and it just held onto the curling iron a lot better than the other side. When you have texture already in your hair, the curling iron, for some reason, it just really grabs onto that. Okay, the next one is pinning your curls. I've talked about this before. When you pin your curl, it cools in that form. So when you have it up and in that circle form, it's gonna cool in that form and hold that shape. It creates a more bouncier look. It holds a lot better. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the difference between pinning your curl and not pinning up your curls. So this one, I am going to let it be and not pin that one up. And then this one that I'm curling right now, I am going to go ahead and pin that one up. But I wanted to show you guys before I pinned it up that they both are the same size right now. Not one is tighter than the other, so you can see. And then now I am going to go ahead and pin one side up and let it cool for about 15 minutes. Now I let it cool for about 15 minutes and I am going to drop it. And as you can see, it is a lot bouncier and you get an actual curl. The other one is kind of falling a little bit. So that shows the difference between you pinning up your curl and you leaving it loose. And it just holds a lot better since it took on that curl form. It's going to last a lot more throughout the day. So I would definitely recommend letting your curls cool in pin form about 10-15 minutes. The next thing you guys can do is before you curl each strand, add hairspray to each strand. Here's the strand. Before I go in and curl, I like to spray hairspray. It adds a little bit of a grit. You don't want your hair sizzling when you use the curling iron, obviously. So I like to spray hairspray, brush it through. So this distributes the product as well as brushes it so it's not sticky and it won't sizzle when you are curling it. I always recommend doing at least a brush before you go in with the curling iron. So that's another tip for you guys. Next thing is, how are you guys curling your hair? You want to make sure when you're curling your hair, you are putting the clamp or wand or whatever you're doing at the top of the strand. So you don't want to start the curl right here because your curl is going to fall. It's only going to be at the bottom of your hair. You don't want to start at the bottom and roll up because you for sure will have no curl. You might as well just have straightened it at that point. You want to make sure that your clamp is all the way at the top. You're starting right there and curling from the top. Some people think that they're doing that. They'll clamp it, but then they'll drag it down and then they'll say, what are you talking about? I started at the top. Yeah, but you're not realizing that you're dragging it down. By the time you start curling, you might as well have started at the bottom. So you want to make sure when you are curling that you start at the top and you curl from the top. And then you feed the rest through, but you are curling from the top of your hair. Even with a wand, you want to make sure that you are curling all the way at the top and not having the wand down here. You want to have the wand all the way up there. If you start up here, you'll have the curl just going throughout the whole strand, and that helps your curl last a lot longer. The next one is, what barrel are you using? So the bigger the barrel, the bigger the curl and the looser the curl. My sister had short hair and she comes up to me, she's like, Cynthia, my curls never last. And then I looked at the curling iron she was using. It was the biggest curling iron. I want to say it was like a 2-inch curling iron. And I was just like, are you seriously using this curling iron and expecting your curls to hold? Your hair is this short. It's just funny how she literally had no idea that it would even make a difference. But yes, curling iron sizes make a difference. The smaller the curling iron, the tighter the curl is going to be. So if your hair doesn't hold, try going down a size when it comes to the curling iron. So those are some of the tips that I have for you. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see. I might not be able to respond to each and every one of you just because I do get a large amount of DMs and whatnot, but I do try to read through everything and I always take everything into consideration. So please feel free to reach out and
let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.